Yeah, and I think we also are quite obsessive. Like, we really want to be able to produce the best pizza that London can offer, and we won't stop tweaking and refining and making that better, and also trying to see if there's better suppliers out there and producers out there that we can work with. Um, and I don't think we'll ever stop. I don't think it'll ever be like, wow, that's the perfect pizza. It will always be about innovating.
1, 2, 3, 4. Welcome to Captive Conversations. I'm your host, Adam from Captive Wi-Fi. Join us as we dive into behind-the-scenes stories of hospitality leaders exploring tech, operations, and marketing through the eyes of the experts. Let's get the inside scoop together.
Hello, everyone. Episode 43, and look who I found. You can give her a wave. Give everyone a wave. This is Ruth from Pizza Pilgrims. We've known each other for a while, which is cool, and you are very busy. So as a forever growing brand, I mean, to be fair, I keep saying that to everyone that comes in, to be honest with you, but thank you for making time, and I'm excited for this one because it's going to be a good one. And you've got good banter, to be fair. So I know that you're like, ooh.
Time will tell.
Yeah. That's not vodka, so if it was, it'd be even better. But thank you for coming in. And we're going to just go dive straight in, to be fair. So the last two questions were from Michelle Renault from QAB.
Love her.
She's amazing. And I love her. Have you seen her GIFs that she does?
She's iconic.
They're amazing. So her question was, who was the first person who most inspired, or the first leader that made an impact?
I'm going to say it's my mum, because my mum worked as a chef, a pastry chef, all the while that we grew up, and she worked her arse off to be taken seriously as a chef.
Yeah.
And it was at the time where sexism in the kitchen was rife, and you really didn't want to be a female in that industry, and she just completely bossed it and really taught me the epitome of why hospitality was more than just a part-time job. It was a career. So I think she was my influence into going into hospitality, you know.
Proper boss.
Yeah, she's great.
Yeah.
No one messes with Laura Carpenter.
No one messes with Ruth Carpenter.
not anymore. Thanks to her.
I love that. I love that, absolutely. Okay, if you hadn't have done this job, what would you have done? I sort of know this question-ish, but I mean, might have been something else.
My dream would have been that I'd been a sculptor or an artist, or some kind of maker, I think.
Instead, you're a creator.
Yeah.
Creative, sorry. Okay, amazing. So 2 standard questions, which are best hospitality experience.
Oh, this was hard.
Yeah.
So I think it's got to be Hawksmoor. I went to Hawksmoor for my boyfriend's birthday a few years ago.
Yeah.
They used 7 rooms very well there and knew that he was a massive red wine drinker. So when we turned up, we got shown to our table, and then they did an impromptu red wine tasting at our table and basically gave him whatever red wine he wanted on the house for that evening. And it was just such a special moment. And I think it's that magic dust of hospitality that just makes things so memorable.
Those little nuggets, right?
And I think Hawksmoor do it really well.
Yeah. And have you been back?
I have. I'm an avid roast eater now.
Yeah, the roast is awesome.
Incredible.
And so I think, do you find that it's the consistency that for each visit?
It's consistency, but I think purely the people. Like, really, my boyfriend doesn't even like beef, but because of that moment, he'll go back and eat at Hawksmoor, even though it's beef every time, and he just knows how to ask for his steak to be cooked now, that he'll be happy to eat it. But it's just that personal experience and the way that they treat you just makes it worthwhile.
I love that. Best hospitality tech?
Well, technology is not my best friend, so this was hard. I think StoreKit, you know, I think StoreKit have really worked hard to create an experience of pay at table that really considers the brand look and feel and aesthetic, and you're able to engage with their tech in exactly the same way as you would like a customer to engage with your menu. And I think they've really nailed that tech versus experience moment.
Yeah, I agree. I think the look of it is super slick and in brand, especially if you want to do in brand stuff. There's lots out there that are just very the same.
Especially our biggest fear is putting tech in and it removing that human experience. So I think they are the best in
They're
the
actually coming out. They're coming in soon, which is really exciting. I need to get Christoph off his bum to book the time. But I mean, it's like, can we do all three of us?
Christoph.
Yeah, come on, Christoph, book a time in. I think it's coming soon. So yes, that would be really interesting because the whole story about it is pretty cool, like how it was created and everything else. So okay, I've got here. This is your unconventional career path. So I used ChatGPT. I use that as my researcher, and so I use deep research, which is a new feature in ChatGPT. So if you're doing any tasks or any stuff that you're doing for work, you can actually, if you've got the pro version, you can use ChatGPT's deep research. So you can ask it to say, "I'm doing a podcast with Ruth Carpenter," and then do a research in her career, and it brought into.
I came up.
Yeah, no, I put you specifically in. I put the website in. I put your LinkedIn in. So it found you online. And it did a deep research on you, and I'll share you everything. It's got your career path, it's got all the sources it's found. And what ChatGPT's deep research does is it asks itself questions. Ruth was this. I wonder if we can find more information about what she did here. And it asks questions, and as it goes. So deep research, you need to have a look at deep research. Deep research,
I'm so
if you're
behind.
doing anything in
behind.
ChatGPT, it's a new feature, and it's really good for projects as well. So say, for example, you were to upload to analytics. And you wanted to ask questions about something, you could upload analytics and it can do the research for you. Like people have been doing medical research, uploading it, and it'll complete the research in the space of 20 minutes. It would take you hours.
I'm kind of scared of ChatGPT. I'm not gonna lie. Like one day I just think, like, what if it becomes like a human,
monster.
and then I never said thank you for something and it kills me. Like that is my deepest fear.
Yeah, and the lift just goes all the way down, right? So, after this we'll go through and I'll get it on her phone, and then you can go from there. Because when Sam Brown was in, Nick, his co-founder, was like, I looked the other day and I looked over it, and he wrote in there how long to cook a jacket potato.
I mean, it comes in handy.
Well, to be fair, I went the other day and I was taking pictures of sake for my wife. I was like, "Is this dry sake?" And I took a picture, and it just used the internet, and it found that this one is this.
It's gonna rule the world one day.
It's pretty good. Anyway, sorry, I digress. Your background. So I basically put here. I'm not gonna say it, actually. You can tell us. But so let's go back in time, before hospitality.
Okay.
Yeah. Where were you? What did you do? Did you? And also, did you work in hospo before? Like, anywhere in hospo?
Yeah. So as soon as I turned 16, my mum was like, not paying for you anymore. You're going to get a job at the hotel that she worked at. So I was probably the world's best but worst waitress. I'm not going to lie. I gave someone first degree burns with a bowl of soup. That was not my career highlight. Safe to say I got put on reception or just like topping up wines after that. But she made me work very hard from the age of 16.
Was it in where she was working as well?
Yeah.
Oh.
She was keeping a constant beady eye on me as well.
Yeah.
It was quite terrifying. And then went to uni, worked the whole way through uni at Wetherspoons. Woo! And also at a little Italian restaurant called... oh my God, what was it called? Pinocchio's in Norwich. Big up Pinocchio's. It doesn't exist anymore.
Oh.
And then once I graduated from art school, I decided to try my hand at being a sculptor. I won my first project, my final show. I thought, this is it, my big break. I'm going to become famous.
What was the project on your final show?
It was a light-generated moving sculpture. So it moved with the sun patterns.
That's
basically.
Awesome.
And it still exists in Norwich now. But I
Hold on, it still exists in Norwich? Where?
Yeah, it's in a park in Norwich.
Oh my God, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Sorry, I got really excited. that is awesome.
Solar-powered sculpture, basically. And I thought,
you have to I'm going to get me a picture and I'm going to put it in.
I thought, this is it.
Yeah.
I'm going to be famous. Safe to say that was my only paid piece of work.
Yeah. Well, you got paid for it.
Yeah, I did get paid for it, but the money didn't last long,
Yeah.
and I was very much a struggling artist. So I moved into making lights for places like Hawksmoor, actually. So some of my lights can still be seen in the Seven-Dial site.
Really?
Sorry,
I'm getting exciting. So hold on, you made light, as in fun,
so
Edison style lights.
I could. I specialised in welding at uni, so I was welding all of their lovely gold fixtured lighting.
Oh my God,
is rigged above their restaurants.
That's awesome.
And then I convinced someone to be able to let me do the pitching for new clients.
Yeah.
So I was very much on the pitching stage of brands like East London Liquor Company,
Was that working for a company?
For an interior design agency. And then through one of my pitches, I met Shamil from Dishoom, and then applied for their marketing manager role, got the role.
With no marketing?
No real experience, except from
just
the pitches.
Gift of the gab.
Gift of the gab. And my storytelling abilities.
Love that.
AKA my ability to talk absolute shit. And then I worked for Dishoom for 3 years after that.
And what stage were Dishoom at that point?
They were only 5 sites.
Yeah.
Super small team, 5 people in their marketing team, me being one of them. Very different to the beast that they've become now.
Yeah, I'm sure. And was it still very much owner involvement? Because it still sort of is now, isn't
Shamil and Kavi, still to this day, I think, are involved day to day. But they were very much hands-on part of the business. And yeah, it was a great time at Dishoom. I learned a lot.
And how long were you there for?
3 years.
3 years.
Mm-hmm.
And what was what some of the activations you did? Do you remember? Could you remember something that stands out from? Obviously, you learn a lot, right? Because you're with the team.
Yeah, I joined at around the time where I was internal marketing manager. So my whole job was about making people really love their jobs and fall in love with hospitality as a career, not just as a part-time role. So for the first year, it was just taking people out with an absolute wad of cash on my Moss card.
Yeah.
Treating them to drinks, helping plan the festival that they do every summer called Family Mela. It was the best job in the world because I knew everyone in the sites.
Yeah.
I had a lot of fun, as you can imagine. And
I didn't
it was
know
the
internal
best
marketing
early
existed.
20s role that I could have ever dreamed of.
I didn't even know that sort of role existed. That's like awesome.
I basically partied for a living.
That's amazing.
But it was great, but I needed more. So I remember one of my first projects was when I came out of just internal comms was helping open the Kensington site. And how do you open in Kensington for Dishoom in a way that really makes sense to their audience and working out the story. So I was heavily involved in their theatre production, which was called Night at the Bombay Roxy.
Theatre production?
Yeah, they did like a whole immersive theatre dining experience.
That's awesome.
And yeah, I remember that was just the pinnacle of like something really cool that I could help have a stamp on. And then help with various projects opening in Manchester, Edinburgh.
What was it like? I mean, Edinburgh is a different beast, right? It's a complete. I mean, Manchester's one thing, Kensington's one thing, but Edinburgh is a completely different beast. Mm-hmm. What was your overview on that one?
I actually think that in comparison to Manchester, they're not a very discerning bunch. The people of Edinburgh are really willing to embrace new, cool London restaurants. I think opening in Manchester for the first couple of months at Dishoom was a real eye-opener because it was, I think, the first time where we weren't just instantly busy with a queue and it wasn't like this fanfare of people. And the people of Manchester were hard to impress, I think. And it took a couple of months of tweaking it, getting the right GM in place and really making sure that we were embedding in the community even more than we had originally opened with to really get it right. So yeah, I think Edinburgh was easy from memory compared to Manchester.
Easy adoption.
Yeah.
Okay, amazing. And then what transition did you? Did the role change? Did you grow in the role?
So I grew to marketing manager. I'd been there 3 years at that point, and then I decided to leave and go to D&D London, which everyone thought I was absolutely bonkers for. Why would you leave Dishoom for another brand? Surely Dishoom is the pinnacle. But I had a really strong female leadership team above me that were never going to leave, right? And most of them are still at Dishoom now. Yeah. And they were so impressive. And I knew that to grow at the rate that I wanted to grow for my career, I had to leave. Yeah. And it was a hard decision, but probably the best decision. I was at D&D for only a year before COVID hit, and I was their brand campaigns manager.
You know what's really interesting? So Ben came on last week, and he was talking about in general corporate, right? In corporate environments, not hospitality marketing, but just general corporate. There's a path, right? But in hospitality marketing, the people who are up there generally sort of stay until it's maybe time to go. There isn't that continuous path to director level. marketing director maybe, but they sort of stay. So that I can understand where you got to and you're at that point. And the team that they were awesome. They're great at what they do, but you hit your limit. So he was saying, which is probably quite similar, because we see a lot of shift around of movement. That when that role comes up, for example, that you probably found, you're like, right, I'm here. They're amazing. Why would they even leave? Because they do what they do. They're a great team, and then you get to that point. So is that similar to where you were? You're like, right.
I went from a very people-focused, beautiful, well-considered brand to a commercial beast.
Yeah,
and
they had more restaurants. They had more back then at that point.
It was like 40 sites when I joined, and it was a real eye-opener. It was a real culture shock, not going to lie. But actually, I learned so much.
How big was the team when you were there? Remember?
It was like 8 of us.
Yeah.
And it was short-lived. COVID happened.
Yeah.
I got made redundant, but it was my time. I think I'd learned enough to go into my next role, and then I never really fitted in. I was always too much of a people person.
Yeah, you're a bit kitschy and cool.
I needed some place a little bit more people focused, and but what I learned was invaluable.
Yeah.
And then I went freelance.
So do you freelance during COVID or?
Yeah, during COVID, and then I found a really good niche actually of helping brands navigate the COVID era. So
they're all so lost.
Yeah.
There were just loads of people so lost.
Helping people with how do you make pay at table human experience? How do you make the sites as accessible as possible? How can you still hold events in a safe proximity? And it led me to working with Curb, who was one of my favourite clients as a freelancer.
Yeah.
So much so that I went in-house with them maybe 6 months later. I was the worst freelancer ever. I was way too invested. And then I joined them as their marketing boss.
I like that name. That's the name, isn't it? The name artist that is marketing boss, isn't it? That's the name of it. I love that.
And I was there for around 2 years, and then I saw the growth of Seven Dials reopening.
Yeah.
Helped open Curb National Theatre, and then was
what
also
was
helping
because Curb Seven Dials Market is theirs. National Theatre is different because I was there the other day actually. It's awesome, the space. It's very different.
Yeah,
it's a National Theatre outside, but they've also got the bar inside. They've got the insides
they've
too.
taken over all the restaurant spaces inside, and they're all powered by Curb.
Yeah.
But then they brought in Fours of Wine upstairs, and it's all curated by Curb.
Yeah.
And it was amazing. You got to work with some really cool street food brands that were coming out of incubation and really building their brand, and you got to meet some incredible people with great stories.
Did you also help with those brands with little guidance and stuff? Because Curb is very much like helping brands, right? They're not just. It's not just have a street. They're like the incubation, for example, and building those brands out. It's not just off you go. Here's a stall. It's very much involved. Was the marketing piece also helping with them as well?
Not as much as I think it is now. I think that we were really short on resource at the time. They'd really stripped back their teams because COVID. Everyone had to. So if we'd had more resource on time, I think 100% we would have got more involved.
Yeah.
We were really all about telling the stories of Seven Dials Market traders and making sure that they were singing, but they were in charge of how their brand looked and how active they were on social media. Of course, we'd advise, but it wasn't as hands-on as I think the team are built up now.
Yeah, I mean the Seven Dials Market is a beast. It's just, and anyone I've spoken to who hasn't been to the UK has come to the UK. All knows about Seven Dials Market, or has been at least.
It's an incredible space.
Yeah.
But even when I left, the Cucumber Alley didn't look the way that it looks like now. When I went there the other week, I was like, wow, this
I think
is
originally
now.
they had a florist at the back, didn't they? It was very much retail.
Yeah, very, very cutesy, very local.
Yeah, and now it's
and now it's a real hub for desserts and street food.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
My wallet gets pained because the boys are like, "Where are you?" I've just popped into. Oh, where are there? Can you go grab a this and a that and yeah, but it is good.
There were one trader that I need to try is a bread and butter pudding stand. I can't remember what they're called, but oh my god, that looks insane.
I get stuck by soft serve because and they were there. They've been there from the beginning. I mean, just crazy. I think I don't know if they're still. I think they've gone now. The guys that were doing the creme brulee thing is they were at the end, and they were just. And there was. I mean, anyway, we can go on forever about that. Okay, so and how long were you at Curb for?
2 2.5 years, and then I went to Pizza Pilgrims.
And what was the role at Pizza Pilgrims?
Head of marketing.
Okay.
And then I've been there for 3 years now.
I remember speaking. I can't believe that time has just gone, isn't it? It's crazy.
Rocketed by. It feels like 2 weeks, but it's been 3 years.
That list is still.
That list is long.
Okay. Okay. Cool. So when you got to Pilgrims, what was the layout like, lay of the land? Because I know you like to get your teeth into projects and get stuff done and so on. Did they have a team prior?
No, so actually before I joined, Tom and James were very much at the helm of all marketing, ideas, plans, execution, as well as a marketing manager called Nish. She'd been with the brand for years as well, but started as local marketing and moved into a marketing manager role. But I was their first formal marketing hire that they'd ever made. So it was quite a challenge. I had a lot of structure to put in place, a lot of processes to put in place, and still building on that. My first project with them was to celebrate their 10th birthday in a way that they
that was a big one, wasn't
it? No one could ever try and celebrate before. So we came up with, like, how do we really retell that story and bring that back into the fold? So obviously Pizza Pilgrim started with the pilgrimage, which was with a tuk-tuk ape across Italy. So what better way to celebrate our 10th birthday than create an even more ridiculous pizza wagon? And we built the Pizza Vespa, and that was a 10-day trip seeking out 10 new recipes to bring to the restaurants to celebrate 10 years. And it kept me busy. It was a big project, and we only had about 6 months to pull it off.
Wow.
But we won 3 awards for it. It's probably one of my proudest projects I've ever worked on. And that was all when I was pretty fresh.
Yeah.
So it was definitely chucking me in the deep end. But since then, it's been about, we're so good at being creative. We're never short of ideas.
Yeah.
But it's now about getting the basics right and making sure that we are tapping into things that the business needs to do to thrive.
Yeah. Because it still feels like even though how many sites are you now?
26.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like that.
No.
It's which is.
If you ever see us as a chain, we failed our mission of keeping it feeling small.
Yeah.
And that is why we do everything the way that we do them, because we want it to feel fresh, we want it to feel small and independent. But of course, the reality is we are growing.
Yeah.
We're going to be 30 sites by the end of this year. So
Wow.
we've got quite a lot of new openings lined up, and it's really exciting. But it's about protecting our purpose and why we're doing it, and the culture will see us through being like successful in our growth plans.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So going to the locations, does each like GM have their flexibility to sort of run it as a local?
Definitely, but with
some guidelines.
Brand guidelines.
Yeah.
I think what we always try and say is that we will always steer price and menu as a core brand function. Same with marketing, but we want it to be set up so if you did have opportunity to host events at your site, if you did want to do local marketing, we give you like freedom within a framework to say, this is what it should look like. This is who you need to contact that designs it, so it stays on brand. But
don't use Canva, or if you do, just get it
approved.
Yeah.
But we'll give you the guidelines, and then you just need to respect the process of putting it through the teams.
Yeah.
And I think when they work with us like that, we get ultimate success, right?
Yeah.
When they go a bit rogue, it goes a bit wrong.
Yeah. And have you seen that? Have you seen that happen?
Oh, it's happened a couple of times.
Yeah. I love that. I want to just touch on the menu.
Yes.
Because the style of the menu is not like any other. And I was at the menu thing with you like last year, I think it was, and like comparing Hawksmoor to yours.
Yeah,
like,
it was quite an eye opener, wasn't it?
So I mean, yours is like I mean, the menu is mental. I mean, and everything I just need to give you props for it, because the way that you're guiding people to different pieces of the menu is a game changer. Like, it really is. Just a little thought process on it, and it's probably the funnest menu that I have seen out of all of them, to be honest with you, because you really have taken that spin on what you've done. What was the process of that? How was that? Was that a project as well for you?
Actually, that was a project that came out of the 10th birthday trip. So when we were in Naples, like you'll see, like when you go past like food stalls and markets, that there's all these beautiful hand-painted signs and pricing. And it's done by this guy called Pasquale Di Stefano, and he is Naples' last sign writer. So he does all the sign writing in Naples.
Really?
He's also like 110, not really, but he's
Yeah.
on his way.
Yeah.
And he hasn't taught anyone his craft, so it will likely die with him, which is the really sad part. So we had the real pleasure of going to his studio, and he created our hand-painted sign that's on the side of the Vespa.
Oh, awesome.
And as a way of bringing that little essence of Naples into our like brand house, we decided to make the menu an ode to his style. So we obviously paid him, he gave us permission, but we've created the menu in honour of him.
I love that. It's another story, another piece of the story, isn't it?
Do you,
Is there a QR code on the menu to go to that piece of the story?
No.
I mean, come on.
I know.
Seriously, like
We've got too many stories to tell.
Yeah, but so you need like 4 QR codes on the menu.
I know.
Where our
Can be
history.
QR'd out.
Yeah.
But
man,
we
you
are
need
now
to talk about
working
this.
on redesigning the menu for May. It's changing.
From that design, or just
design.
staying a little bit.
It's staying in the same brand style, but it will just be a bit more slicker, a little bit more like grown up version of what it currently exists.
Yeah.
I think that menu is the epitome of like, we want everyone to feel like they've gone on a 1 hour holiday to Naples when they enter a Pizza Pilgrims, from the interior to the menu design, etc. I think when we first designed it, it is fun and it's really beautiful, but actually it doesn't make ordering the easiest for the customer. It's a little bit chaotic, which is very Naples, and you really get that sense of a chaos.
Yeah.
But I think that we can work smarter and better to make that customer journey and their ordering behaviours like more succinct, and obviously work towards our commercial goals as well.
Absolutely, upsell.
That was stage one.
But hold on, but you've got one. I had one more thing. You've got is it on the margarita, and you've got the bolt-ons. Oh, you've got to talk about the bolt. That, I mean, that is just. I'm so sorry. Talking about major upselling in any other pizzeria, no one else does this. Can you please tell the people about that? Because that just when I saw it, I just had the biggest smile on my face.
So the margarita is our number one selling pizza, obviously, closely followed by double pepperoni and spicy honey. So obviously, if you come in and you order a margarita and a Coke, we're only going to get about £13 spent per head.
Yeah.
We need it to obviously be higher, to pay our team the way we pay them, become a B Corp, do all the things that we're really passionate about. So we decided to trial whether bringing in a free tiered margarita process would entice people to upgrade their margaritas. So it's we've got the margarita, the margarita extra with buffalo mozzarella, and then we've got the margarita extra, which is with pesto and a burrata ball, and it's pianello tomatoes, delicious. And so far it's done really well. Like we have upgraded the margarita, and people do really buy into that story and that progression. And we've even had customers that have come in and made it their sole mission to try every tier. Yeah. So the margarita fanatics love it. Yeah. I think it's great. And it's obviously kind of for our GP at the end of the day.
I think it's great. Just adding. But you're showing again the story, isn't it? So when you're reading it, and it's right there of the extra. I would probably be extra all the way. Just that's me. But I just love it. I love the idea of it's the quirkiness of it, right? And then the carbonara. You mentioned it ages ago, and I have to tip it into here because people get confused with the carbonara, right? You're a pizza restaurant.
Yeah, but they think it's a bowl of pasta. I don't know how we get past this. We did used to have a pasta strand on the menu illustrated, and people were just really like triggered of like, I'm having pasta. Yeah. So
since that's gone, is it better? Obviously, people are still confused.
Since it's gone, people are less confused. That was a massive oversight from us on stage one. Yeah. But the carbonara was all about taking a really like Italian classic and making it a Pizza Pilgrims like icon.
Because no one else had. I had not seen it anywhere else.
No, and now it's everywhere. Yeah. But we
set in that trend.
We set that campaign of like, are you team Spaghetti or team Spaghetti? Because people thought it was absolutely outrageous that there's al dente pasta on top of a pizza. Trust us, it works. And it's been one of our like top selling pizzas since we put it on the menu. So yeah, it's just taking those risks and making sure that we are trendsetters, not trend followers. And I think that's what we've always tried to do, is have a real like mix of traditional Neapolitan pizzas that purists can come and enjoy, and then adding that little bit of extra like intrigue for those more adventurous pizza lovers.
Yeah.
That keeps it interesting, so that you should always come back to Pizza Pilgrims and be able to try something that's new and not seen on every single menu, because it's so competitive nowadays.
So is there a brand new menu coming?
In May, there's a couple of new dishes coming.
That's exciting.
Yeah, it'll be the first time we changed the menu in 2 years.
Wow. How does that work? So we're teeing it opposite a little bit. How does that work with all the sites that you have now?
Oh, it's quite the task.
Yeah.
I'm just currently working on the Gantt chart now. It's
Yeah.
quite a big one. It is all about getting our chefs buy-in first. I think we can never sell pizzas as well as we do unless our team absolutely love it. And time again, we will see that a pizza lives or dies by the enthusiasm of the team that have to sell it on a day-to-day basis. So we've taken some learnings. We've seen what are like our really hard to sell pizzas, and what pizzas could be working harder for us in the sense of being more attractive by tapping into certain trends and customer behaviours that we're seeing. But again, like rooting it back to what we think can make our pizzeria different. One thing that we've really noticed is that we are one of the best, like most geekiest Neapolitan pizza like creators out there on the market. Like we really do obsess over making it as authentic and true to what you'd get in Naples. Day in, day out, we are always developing new recipes. Like every Thursday is development day, and
really?
It never stops.
Really?
So we're always in the
And
kitchen.
who's is that still founder led from the top down, or is it still?
James is still heavily involved from
Yeah.
like a development side, but we've also got a really amazing food team that like they are just constantly looking at how we can make that dough that little bit better. We also made like quite a bold choice to move our Caputo flour to red instead of blue. It's very matrix style pill swap decision that we made, which just gives our dough more protein, which actually makes it fluffier.
Okay.
Like,
I thought it was fluffy enough, but yeah.
well, it's even fluffier now. So like doing those little like changes that we call Kaizen changes, just to improve that quality every month. So I think May will see a more refined versions of some of the classics that are just a bit too much.
Yeah.
Like we're really seeing that our pizzas have felt a bit heavy lately, that you could only have one pizza. People are sharing our pizzas.
Oh, you want it so
how
lighter
do we strip
base?
it back?
Yeah. How do I eat 2 pizzas?
Yeah. And how do you eat 2 pizzas?
And size? Is size changing, or is it?
No, size is staying the same, but it's just a little bit more pared back on the topping side. I think some of them are a bit unnecessarily heavy, if I'm being honest. And then bringing in some like really key new pizzas that we feel people will really love and that really showcase quality of ingredients and the supplier relationships that we've been building over these 13 years that we've been open.
And talking about that, is the produce still coming from where it's still coming from?
Yeah, it's still coming from Naples or surrounding areas of Naples. However, because we've become a B Corp, we've had to really think about innovation of how we safely transport our produce to the UK. Depends who you ask. How we actually really think about like how the product's being shipped that lowers our impact. And one thing was actually in mozzarella, like we actually trialed what would it be like if you took a mozzarella ball and you froze it straight away and you shipped it in huge quantities to London and defrosted it. Would it lose its quality, or would it taste as fresh as the day it was made? And it's actually like frozen vegetables. It's actually as fresh as the day it was made. That's so
interesting.
But we had to do months and months and months of testing and
tweaking and testing,
making sure that quality was actually protected, because if the quality doesn't match, we won't compromise on an impact saving process, because really what is our bread and butter? It's great pizza. So we'll never compromise, but we've had to really think outside the box. We also blind tasted 40 different tomatoes because we changed our tomato supplier in January this year. But that change has given this like sweetness to our pizzas that complement all of our toppings perfectly. So it it cost us more money. It was actually a not very financially smart investment.
Yeah.
But what it's done for the quality of pizza and the overall taste has given us more footfall, more loyalty for our customer base.
Yeah, to be
really
fair,
improved
you do have a diehard. I mean, my niece says to me when she's at uni now, out of London, but when she was here, she's like, "Our go-to is we'll go to town." Because listen, back in the day when I was younger, we go out clubbing, 4 or 5 clubs. I might go out for a bit of food here and there, but probably not. I'll probably end up at like a pizza place or like a burger place at the end at 3 a.m. But the younger generation will maybe, her and her friends will go to Pizza Pilgrims in Soho. They'll get their pizza and then they'll go to a bar.
Yeah.
And that is their like go-to
ritual.
Yeah, that's their ritual. And I feel it's really interesting on that. When I was asking her, she's like, "But it's what we do. It works." You know, and get the line in of your stomach.
Yeah.
You've got the dairy and the carbs, and then off they went to a few different bars, and then they went home. But it was really interesting to have a listen to her and talking about it because she was just raving about it, which is really nice. So I think you definitely do have the diehard fans.
Yeah, and I think we also are quite obsessive. Like we really want to be able to produce the best pizza that London can offer, and we won't stop tweaking and refining and making that better, and also trying to see if there's better suppliers out there and producers out there that we can work with. And I don't think we'll ever stop. I don't think it'll ever be like, wow, that's the perfect pizza. It will always be about innovating.
Question for you. So how many inside London?
21.
And then where are the other ones?
Leeds, Nottingham, Cambridge, Brighton. And Cardiff.
Okay. And what's the difference? Is there... Obviously, it's interesting because inside London there's quite a lot, and then outside London is it a different like is it the same obsessive people, or how is it outside London? Because London's super fast paced, right?
We're in the process of building a fan base there. I think Leeds obviously was an interesting opening strategy because obviously Rudy's is so well loved and it's their they are so prominent there.
Yeah, they need some competition. Can't always be them.
And we really had to go in thinking, what's our USP against Rudy's, right? It's not about taking customers away from them. It's about how do we coexist comfortably together that's not going to tread on each other's toes. We're offering 2 different things, right? So we always made sure that Leeds, when we opened there, we really went down that 1-hour holiday in Naples vibe. So that was our first really locked in experience where you walk in, there's clothes hanging up on the ceiling.
Oh, really?
Window shutters in the middle of the
it's a proper experiential
pizzeria, and it looks like you've gone into a courtyard in Naples, and it's really cool. There's lots of graffiti everywhere. We played into the football Maradona theme. It's quite rugged, whereas when you walk into Rudy's, it's very much like a beautiful, clean pizzeria. And we wanted to make sure that we were giving something that was a USP, and we've tried to do that with every new location that we've opened in.
So are you trying to make it all a bit quirky, basically?
Yeah. So every
in keeping
interior is based on a time or a place in Naples or a surrounding area of Naples.
Was Soho the first one?
It was our first pizzeria. Yeah,
and that's tiny. Yeah. But I've never seen it busier. It's always been busy, but to be fair, even people waiting to sit outside is just crazy. And weirdly enough, opening opposite Pizza, not that that's difficult, but opening opposite Pizza Express was just the
bold move.
Yeah, but I think a genius move, to be fair, right?
Yeah.
Because
we've always joked that they do is it jazz night in Pizza Express, and we should do a blues night opposite, and then you could have a jazz and blues off.
You'd get the downstairs. I went there the other. I went out we went to theatre. Pizza Pilgrims was rammed, and so we popped in there, and I completely forgot they had the downstairs because it used to really be prominent, and they used to talk about it the whole time. But it wasn't really I don't know. Maybe it's different as it was. But
Pizza Express is an institution.
Yeah.
But so really bringing to life different areas. So we're just about to open up in Edinburgh.
Oh, awesome!
We want to create.
Well, you've been there, so you know the layout.
I know.
You got your notes. So I open my notes.
Yeah, literally. Let me go back in time. So we're opening in Edinburgh in April. And
Edinburgh's going massive for food scene at the moment. I've never seen anything like it. It's going crazy.
And also, like, they've got quite a few pizza brands, but nothing quite like traditionally Neapolitan. So I think we can really craft like a unique space there where we're not pissing anyone off, but we can comfortably exist there.
I do like. I love that. So there's all these new pizza brands, right? There's obviously Crisp that's out there. There's loads of different like Alley Cats and so on, and they're all like the New York style, super crisp. And I find it like quite nice because there's not a new brand that's come out that's like you guys. They've just that's gone a bit crazy, but you've still kept your roots as like the fluffy dough, the nice. And it's nice to see that they're doing their little things because that will have it. But I think the diehards are very much into because I think it's a story, right? And I think you tell that story and people were brought into the story.
Yeah, I think the only time we'll ever do like a different style of pizza is if it's through a collab.
Yeah.
And then potentially we'd look at doing a Detroit pizza or a New Haven pizza or something.
Yeah.
But I feel like it would have to be part of our guest pizza series. We've never put it on the menu. We just
there's a guest pizza series.
Yeah, we have a guest pizza every month.
I didn't know. I haven't done the deep dive. Didn't do into it. That's really interesting.
Excuse me, Chatty.
That's all. Yeah, it didn't. It was all about you, not about the brand necessarily.
Fine.
Yeah. Talk to me about the guest pizza. How does that work?
So we have a guest pizza that's live on the menu every month.
Yeah.
And
so collab with different brands or different.
It can be a brand collaboration. It could just be about like really talking about a seasonal produce. A seasonal piece of produce that's seasonal that month. That sounds stupid.
Yeah.
And one example is that we collaborated with Sweet D's Jerk last September. And this pizza was a oxtail pizza, slow braised oxtail. And it was absolutely amazing with like a spicy pineapple jerk sauce. Wow. And it was just incredible. And we sold out in under 2 weeks.
Wow.
And it went viral. And it was one of the best collaborations we've ever seen. We've also done one with Dishoom, bacon and egg naan pizza.
Oh my God, that must have been crazy.
And that's still talked about now.
Yeah.
But we also do more refined specials. Like we're just about to do a Nerano, which is very traditional Neapolitan pizza, which everyone loves. But our chefs will go crazy for it. The Italians that have moved to London will go crazy for it.
Yeah.
But it's just something that we can really talk on, like seasonality and bringing either like a fanfare moment or like a PR moment that's buzzworthy, or something that's really rooted in heritage that people will just be like transported into their childhood.
Yeah.
And we're trying to build a balance.
Do you on that note, do you get a large amount of Italians coming in?
We really do, yeah. And we get lots of customer feedback that say like having one of our pizzas just fixes that like homesick moment for them. That it's as close to Neapolitan pizza as they could hope for, which is obviously the biggest compliment that we could ever have.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. Okay, so now we've got the guest pizza in the post. That's
Pizza in the post still exists.
Yeah,
still exists.
I've used it. It's freaking awesome. To be fair, my kid was going mental over it. And I still have to say that the delivery and the whole concept of how it was done is props to the brand, because it was just so clever. It was so clever. And yeah, I just, the whole idea of doing it at home as well. And the videos I did was pretty awesome. I mean, obviously, I think it was during COVID. It was, but I mean, I did it during COVID and then we did it afterwards. I think that was just a game changer, I think, really. Because even when you get the box, it's like bright green. You can't really miss it. It's there. You open it, and the story. It's all. I think the whole delivery for that piece was so clever. So I have to give you props to Pizza in the Post. We do. My daughter, my youngest, is gluten free. So I went to another thingy to try and find a thingy, and they delivered this like char. It was just I emailed them
we
saying,
actually do a gluten-free one now.
I didn't know. Yeah. I will be checking that out. Yeah. Thank you very much. So they delivered this, like, it was a backpack. It was terrible. Yeah. So it was. She was so excited because she was like, she saw my eldest doing it, but yeah. So do you do gluten? You don't do gluten free in the store? We do. We can't serve it to celiacs, obviously, because there's gluten in the air. But we will always accommodate gluten-free basics in all of our pizzerias. That's really interesting. Because not mentioning other brands, they're not here anymore, but Mod Pizza, they were here, and they did a gluten-free pizza, and that was her favourite pizza. Because where I lived, they opened one, and it was just tasted like a normal pizza.
Yeah.
And so it's really difficult to make that base.
And I think that's a really good example of where we've obsessed over making it really like strong offering before opening it up.
Yeah.
What we don't want to do is say, oh, we're accessible to all, and then it be subpar. Like we've really obsessed over how do we make that best gluten-free pizza? How do we really obsess over making the best halal options? How do we make the best vegan options that people actually want to eat, and finding the right producers to support us if we can't make it ourselves has been our biggest strength.
Yeah, I love that. I had no idea, so thank you for letting me know.
You have to let me know. I'll book you in.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, she'll be very excited. That's awesome, actually. Sorry, my brain's just gone, because it is difficult. Obviously, celiac is very different because you've got it's all in the air, right? So it's very difficult to separate. But if you're gluten intolerant, it's not too bad, right? So my kid can have a cake as such, really. If it's got some butter in it, it's not really a big deal for dairy, and also a little bit of gluten isn't going to kill her. So which is great. Okay. And the next piece was we're talking about customer loyalty. So how are you working to build it? I know that I think you're looking. It's difficult. It's a buzzword at the moment out there.
It is.
Where are you on that journey?
So we do actually have a very informal loyalty experience, I'll call it, at the moment, which is through our Super Kind Bombs. So every person that comes to Pizza Pilgrims should technically get an experience at their table that we call a Super Kind Bomb internally. And that is our way of giving you a bit of a surprise and delight. So if you're a table of 4 celebrating a birthday, the team will come over with their shot boxes and say, we heard you're celebrating tonight, have a shot on us. They'll do a Pocatello shot or whatever shot of their choice. And it'll be that memorable moment that hopefully they'll go and talk to their friends about. They'll come back and celebrate birthdays. Or if we overhear a conversation saying, we got an uni oven in lockdown, we'd love to create more pizza at home, we would gift them a cookbook.
Yeah.
So that magic moment of a moment in time of your waitress or waiter coming over to your table and having that interaction to know what Super Kind Bomb will most suit your needs. So obviously if you're not drinking, we would come over with a shot box.
Yeah. Have you got stuff like obviously you do stats on it, right? So you probably know what's what. Are there little competitions for each location?
We have done that before. I think Super Kind Bomb's just naturally the team we hire the right people, right?
Yes,
so they want to give up something away for free. They love giving that special moment, so we don't really have to make it too competitive.
So if you're going to Pizza Pilgrims, just tell them it's your birthday, right? Shout out there, happy birthday, and then you have a team of people coming over with some free desserts. That's lovely. I think that the surprise and delight is one of the most important pieces in hospitality, and the attentiveness of the waiter or waitress, the server, I think is super important. And I think there's a challenge in hospitality, whether you have it as a career, as you mentioned earlier, or as you have it as a job. So if you choose the right people, which you're choosing the right people, they're invested in the business to make it as a career. So I think it's some brands are struggling to have that piece. I went out for breakfast the other day in King's Cross, and I walked in and it was empty, and they asked if we could sit at the bar, and I was like, "Can we sit at the table?" Yeah, of course you can, but we'd prefer you sit at the bar. So we were like, won't be coming back. So it's really, really strange conversation of that. Pizza Pilgrims is a very different environment because it's very friendly. Not that it wasn't that friendly. So I think it's difficult to find the right people. Yeah. So has that been difficult, or is that just, I think you just attract the right people? We've
been lucky that we attract the right people, but also props to our people team. They really have made sure that every recruitment day they hold, all of the materials that you get when you're just about to start, or an interaction that you get through even Team Taylor when you're applying for our website, feels like an extension of the brand. So you already know what kind of brand we are before you've even had your first interview. And they really invest time in the training. We've just moved to All Gravy, which is our internal communications platform as well. We've just created our own AI technology called Joshua.
I've heard of that,
which you can ask any question internally of who's Ruth Carpenter, and it will tell you in under 5 seconds. like what's
Don't
the
message
spec
her.
of this carbonara pizza, it would tell you in
Amazing.
5 seconds.
Nice.
So we're
It's
really
ingested all that data basically.
yeah,
Nice.
and it's forever growing, and I feel like we attract people that really care about other people because of the way that the people team treat you before the training program you get on your first 2 weeks in the academy. Like everything.
The academy?
We've got a pizza academy.
Where's
in
your pizza
Camden,
academy? Oh, that's
in
awesome.
Camden.
Yeah.
Like little touches like that mean that it's you can have a bad hire. Of course we do.
Yeah, everyone can.
But we wheedle them out pretty quickly because they won't stay because they're not as invested in the culture as they need to be, and it won't be because we've made them leave. They'll just naturally be like, "Don't think this is the right place for me." So I think we've made smart decisions of how we treat people from interview stage to actually onboarding them to their 6 months, 12 months, etc. So much so that we've now got the highest percentage of people that have been with us for 5 and 10 years.
Really?
So,
That's awesome.
It's really like growing of like people stay for the long term, and it's really nice to see because that's your core. If you can keep your 60% of your team, people that have been there for longer than 12
Well, they understand the brand,
months,
they understand it, they're invested
they're your biggest
forevermore.
ambassadors.
When people come back as well, so the challenge people have in hospitality is there's such high turnaround.
Yeah.
But if the brands, if you look after the people, they will stay, right?
I think overall industry turnover is like 110% at the moment. We're at 60.
Wow.
So we've worked really hard to like
testament.
protect our team.
Yeah, that's amazing. So the first part of the loyalty is that kindness bomb.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then I'm not going to lie, we have huge plans
Yeah.
for a loyalty strategy to launch in the next 12 to 18 months.
Amazing.
We have a slight problem that we need to change our POS system. Comtrex isn't going to exist anymore. We have to change. So we're just trying to find the right POS supplier first before we can embark on the right loyalty provider, because we want to create something that's quite unique to us.
Yeah.
We don't want an off-the-shelf really, or we want an off-the-shelf that we can manipulate to feel like a real extension of our brand.
Yeah.
So
you built Joshua. You might as well build your own. Joshua can just build loyalty for you. Just ask.
Exactly.
Just go into Joshua and say,
ChatGPT who? We've got Joshua. But I think it will be a long stint to get that right.
Yeah.
I think
your messaging is very different.
Done a hugely great job of their loyalty, and that's everything that we would have strove to have like led the way with. So it's like, how do we make our version?
But on Wagamama's, I wish you could order, because I don't think you can order right now. So it's really, they're so quick in anyway, right? But I wish the piece was just turn that piece on for me, because I just want to.
They might be building it.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll come. But yeah, I'm with you.
But the whole experience led tiers and like the exclusive merch, and that's everything. Like we also really admire Bao. I think they do an excellent job of loyalty and making it very on brand. So
do you guys have you're at the merch show as well, right?
We're just about to launch merch. This year
that's
as well.
exciting. So is that merch and produce?
It'll be
Oh, awesome! Okay, hold on. Whoa. So there's, because are you doing like actual stuff I can buy, as in like like sauces and obviously pizza in post anyway, because that's your
like
tea on
La Bomba chili oil.
Yeah.
We already have our limoncello that's up for sale. We're going to be creating like a couple more product lines as well. But mainly it will be merch, as in clothing.
Oh, awesome! No brainer.
So,
I was in by Box Park, and there was a t-shirt plate. It was really cool. I was like, that looked like your brand in the back of the t-shirt. I'll send you a picture next time I was there.
Cool.
It was like it looked literally like a Pizza Pilgrims thing, but it had like a pizza on the front, and then it had like a whole artwork on the back.
Yeah, you'll have to send it to me.
I'll send it to you. But so now that tees into omni-channel loyalty. So you don't do bookings, or you do bookings with group bookings, right? Yeah. But who's the group bookings tech with?
Simon.
Okay, that's okay. You can do. Don't sit quietly. It works. It works, and people use it. So, so you're going to have the Shopify. I'm assuming, because you have Shopify ready for the pizza on the post. I'm assuming it's going to be expanded from that, because you already have the store. That part of the store is already there. So then you're going to have all your produce on there. So for me, my brain goes to buying a gift card on store and then be able to use it across. So omnichannel loyalty is going to be amazing for you.
And we want it to also link to our delivery partners. So if you get a delivery through us, you can also get loyalty points, and that feeds into the whole concept. I
was talking to a colleague the other day that's doing some work for a hospitality brand that's in retail, in shopping centres, in like Tesco's and stuff, and or like Pizza Express, what they do with the QR on it. Is there something that you guys are going to do as well with like maybe put like collect points on stuff when it obviously when you're buying on the website it's fine, but if some you don't do. I'm just thinking about like buy products. You can buy at the website anyway. So you've taken that piece from there. You've got the information from the customer from that side, and then marrying in from in store to online. That's going to be it's like a bit like if you look at Grind or most coffee places, right, have online versus in store. So trying to merge that together. Yeah, exactly. I think that's a really challenging piece, but there's definitely tech out there that can help with that.
Yeah, and
so that's exciting.
The dream is that we create some kind of like Pepsi Where's My Jet style like point system, which is like the ultimate goal, and the ultimate prize would be so attractive, and only like absolute pizza obsessives would ever get close to getting those points. But along the way, it will be peppered with amazing surprises, exclusive merch.
Yeah. Little surprise lights in the side.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because I think as we're growing as a business, it's getting harder for our teams to give away as much, just because we are having to report closer on our finances, especially now we're going through this big investor piece. We are having to be a bit more grown up with how much we give away and what our EBITDA looks like and all those boring words that are important. And it does mean that the team love it, but they are more reluctant than ever to do it, because it's like, am I able to? Of course they are.
Yeah, but moving down the line, once you've got the omni-channel, you've got, I bought Pizza in the Post, I've bought your chili oil, I bought this, I've got a nice profile. Then I've been to 4 or 5 restaurants. When they come in, they scan whatever they might be, or use the app, whatever they might be. They're already triggered into, if you book the res in, you've got that amazing piece where their free desserts already come, or their surprise and delights just arrived, or don't worry, meals and us.
And it takes the thinking out of the team to deliver it, because we 100%. Are going to be 30 sites. It's really hard to train it in, reassure that it's being done well, that the quality of the experience that the customer is getting is right, like that the right SKBs are getting given away to the right people. Like, worst case scenario would be that we have like a Muslim family come in and they get given an Nduja dipper, for example, and that would be an absolute shit show. Yeah. But try explaining that Muslims don't eat pork to Italians. It's
what? What do you mean?
What do you mean? You don't eat pork? It can be challenging.
Yeah, I can imagine.
And to get it right, it can also go really wrong.
Yeah, but to be fair, the challenge you have is as well. There's lots of walk-ins. So if you were booking, it's not too bad, because in the booking you'd put what you have, but the generation of walk-ins that you have, it's hard.
70% we're a walk-in business.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
And so how do you work with the repeat visits on that?
It's not the most accurate percentage,
but it's hard.
So
again,
gathering.
if you were to have like, I guess, a QR or that loyalty piece, then people would be tiered up to using that to then understand your frequency and then helping with frequency and stuff like that as well. I think that's so it's a nice, bigger, because you've got a few things on your plate from retail to...
I'm so bored. I've got absolutely abundant time on my hands.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure, like we've noticed. Okay, I think the next question was maintaining the brand identity. I mean, you've talked a lot about the identity, but one of the questions was really, so how do you keep it the playful, authentic brand as it expands? It was like, I love this research. It was like, can you share examples of how you ensure one pizza at a time, a happy ethos, independent vibe remains strong across your marketing and customer touch points? Like that. That's quite nice.
I did like it. It was very on point. I think this all comes down to that 1 hour holiday to Naples vibe that we've really tried to like encapsulate. I think that no matter how big we get, no matter how lack of resource we have, we will never just cookie cutter openings, and we'll never approach a new opening exactly the same way as others.
You want to put that unique stamp on every journey.
We really want to make sure that the communities we're moving into really feel like we understand them, and we've made the effort to actually really like embed ourselves into their communities. Not that we're coming in, we're a big London brand and we can just fit in.
Yeah, but it doesn't feel like that as well, which I think is a big testament to you. Does not feel like, I didn't know that how many sites you had. I was like, when you just said earlier, I was like, what?
I know.
It doesn't feel like it.
It's snuck up.
Yeah, it's very cheeky.
And so we want everyone to be able to come in and just have that really amazing experience. It should just be fun. I think the way that we've maintained that is because we just don't take ourselves too seriously. We run a pizza business, and if it's not fun, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
Because it should be every day is a school day. You can fail, but you move on quickly. It should be creative and innovative. And if we're not succeeding in capturing that, like as our like brand ethos, then we're doomed. Like we're never going to make it to 30, 40 sites. We're going to become every other large brand that then checks out and fails. So it's about having that laser focus of really finding out what the niche is in those environments and really like doubling down on your values to make sure that you're the person that's coming into someone else's territory, right? It shouldn't be you shouldn't feel like it's the other way around. So making sure that we have enough humans on the ground to really like get under the skin of like a new opening, but also our customer, like it doesn't matter if you're a Londoner that's known us for years and years or you're a new customer, we want to make sure that every time you come back, that quality and that consistency is protected. But also that we find new ways of making it accessible to all. So if you're coming in and you don't drink, there should be amazing low and no solutions for you to be able to drink something that's more than just Coke or water. If we're moving into like really heavily populated Muslim communities, so how do we create a real knockout pizza that they can enjoy without the worry of like contamination and everything's done well, and you can really feel like everything's halal and done right and the right way. But
there's
also
no barrier.
the
There's no barrier,
quality,
right? There's no barrier.
It's protected, and you don't just get sloppy seconds that we've picked up from some other supplier because it's the same supplier and it's easy. We've actually really thought about the quality and how that will cook on your pizza and how it travels to your table or deliver at home. So I think as long as we can keep that obsession and really like pay attention to sweat the small stuff, then I think that's what keeps us fun and innovative.
For the delivery piece, how long have you been on delivery? Been a while now, I think. No?
Yeah, like 6 years.
Yeah, and how's that been because it's a big old learning curve of delivering pizzas with toppings and as drivers move about. I was at a Lightspeed event the other day, and they basically it was last year sometime, and they basically planted out Pizza Pilgrims. I was very excited, to be fair, but they planted out that, and everything came perfect. Like it's hard to, especially with the styles of pizza you have, to have it and so on. So
it's a struggle, and it's a battle that we've kind of been losing the last 2 months. If I'm being completely transparent, it's this year we've had the most cold pizza complaints we've ever had on delivery.
Yeah,
and I think it comes from Deliveroo and all delivery partners, putting in this like you have to pay £3.99 to get the pizza direct to your door, no stop-offs before. And I think that has created a delay in getting your
I think
pizza.
to give you some on your side, from my experience, my pizza, for example, will have 2 drop-offs on the way. Yeah. So that they then drop the 3 pizzas off or 2 other orders off, and then I get mine within that allotted time. So I think that's a challenge you probably had.
And it's really affected our quality scores. Yeah. And we're battling against it repeatedly week on week.
Yeah.
I think what we're trying to do is really think about the function of a pizza box. So by next winter, we will have a brand new custom built pizza box and packaging solution that we're not getting off the shelf. We want it to be custom made.
Yeah. Well, your Pizza in the Post comes pretty good, to be fair. So more research on that, I guess.
And like, how can we really like be industry leading in our pizza delivery packaging? Is the aim. So we're also working on that behind the scenes.
Have a little button and the whole thing heats up, is it?
Who knows? I can't give you any spoilers.
You'll have you'll be a new supplier. There'll be a second company that you'll build. It'll just be selling that always warm pizza box.
Well, you never know. But yeah, it's an exciting project, and then it's like, how do we still protect the customer experience even when it lands? So we put hot pizza stickers on every box, so it's double tape.
Yeah.
And on that is a really clear instructions on how to heat your pizza. If it does turn up anything less than hot, how to heat it up and protect the quality of the pizza. And we've tried to mitigate complaints in that way of like, if we can educate, It's cold, we know. Sorry about that.
Yeah.
But
don't
this
you
is
wish
what we
that
can do about it.
as the Deliveroo timing goes up, you want to fire off an automation from your CRM to say, "Hey,
so sorry.
your delivery, switch your oven on now."
Yeah.
In preparation.
That would be the dream.
That would be cool, wouldn't
That
it?
would be the dream.
That tee off. There's a I forget the delivery company now, but there's an online ordering service, and they had a small town in the US where the pizza owner had 10 different pizza places, all in the same town, different brands, and they were just delivery only, and they had drivers everywhere. So he was like, we don't want delivery, we don't want DoorDash, and we don't want Uber here. So he basically went to all his friends in that little town and said, we're going to have our own app. We can use all my drivers, and I'll give them to you for nothing. Yeah, as long as we can get rid of that percentage, and eventually we can end up paying for our. It will just. Eventually you'll be charged a small amount, and you'll end up being charged for the tiniest amount just for petrol. And they literally I think that little town uses technology for the app. All these little restaurants are using the same app and the same drivers. And I wish that was like something here. Do you know what I mean? So that you could, instead of using what we have to use, that you've got because you've got a nice aspect of amount of what you can have. You could have little pizza vans going around, which was what happened back in the day, right?
Shout out to Yard Sale because they've done that
Have they?
exceptionally well.
Yeah.
They've got their own delivery system, drivers, everyone that only drive for Yard Sale.
Yeah.
And they service all the pubs, homes in those communities around London.
It's
and
hard.
They do it really well.
Yeah, it's hard. I think I'd love to see, because we used to be in Charlotte Street down there, and outside our office would be 5 or 6 drivers just waiting, and you'd hear the ding on their phone, and they would wait for the next one to just come on, and then they'd accept it, and then so they'd go and get 2.
Also, it's just gutting when you talk to we do loads of things with delivery where we meet the riders. We've done days where we've been riders for the day so that we can experience it. And the money they make and the amount of miles that they have to drive or ride every day, I don't think they get enough props for how hard they really work.
Yeah.
So that's also another consideration of ours. It's how, if we are a B Corp and if we want to treat our team really well,
treat the extension.
How do we also make sure that our suppliers are treating their customers or their employees as well as we are? And I think that having a white label delivery offer through Deliveroo, if possible, and
you'd be able to track everything. You can, if it's yours,
control.
But you can track it, right? So you can put the provisions in place that all you're doing is feeding out to a driver, but your system's dealing with it. Whichever system you use is dealing with that journey.
Yeah.
So it knows if it's going to be late because you've got the pickup time and the delivery time, and it knows where it's going and it knows at the end. So then you can have more control over it. I love that.
Yeah. Who knows? Obviously, we see Deliveroo
you've got a little bit to get on with.
Yeah, we see Deliveroo being our partner.
Yeah.
For years to come, but we also have some things that we need to fix.
Yeah.
We're hoping that we can work with them on.
I think the thing is as well is once you've got that other piece, you're in control of the data.
Yeah.
Which is massive.
Yeah.
Okay. Towards the end, thank you. I've got the future trends, so we can do a little talk about the sort of looking ahead. We talked about innovations, and we've already talked about what's coming up. What do you see generally in hospitality marketing? How do you see it all evolving? Not just for you, but just generally. Is there there's loads of little brands out there that don't have. There's lots of independent owner operators or smaller groups growing who don't have the foresight of what you've had. What do you see?
I think it's about finding a way to make every single customer feel like you're marketing directly to them. It's that customization and personalization piece, I think we're only scratching the surface of the possibilities of that marketing strategy. And I think that we're really going to double down on making sure that every single touch point that the customer has feels like a real warm extension of the brand. I also think there'll be a massive trend on sustainability. And I know that since we've become a B Corp, that the amount of inquiries, the amount of inquiries, interest that we've had from customers, other brands in our space has been phenomenal. And everyone seems to really feel like it's such a confusing world. And actually, it's when you demystify it, it's actually really simple. It's just doing the right thing. And actually, to become a B Corp it's a lot of work, but it's only a lot of work because it exposes you to things that you didn't have to consider before. It's quite conflicting on how you make decisions and how you make the right decisions and how that impacts this person. And a lot of the work we had actually already had in place. We just hadn't formalised it.
Yeah.
So it's, I think...
Well, that's nice as well. I thank goodness you were on that road already.
Yeah. And it still took us 18 months. So it was still a long journey in the grand scheme. But I think that we'll really double down on to making sure that our pizzerias, and I've said this many times already today, like are accessible for all and safe spaces that are full of that like key moments of feeling that pure happiness, even if it's for like an hour on your lunch break or a birthday celebration. Yeah, I love that.
I put here, the last piece I think of the question was like, what excites you about the future of marketing in the restaurant world? Or is that the same sort of thing really in what you've just said?
Yeah, I think same.
Yeah.
I think it's that
I
human
like the safe
experience.
space piece. That was beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Me for Prime Minister. So I think that is what I love about my job. It's about how do you create the most creative, beautiful touch points for the customer at every point. I think we're really good at creating experiences. I think that this year is all about being really obsessed over like the tiniest of details and making sure that that's as carefully considered as it can be, because there's a lot, we're doing a lot, but there's a lot that we just haven't got the time to really think about. And if we did stop and think about it, I think we could really make a difference in our average like visit frequency and loyalty. Yeah. Just through those little bits.
Amazing. Okay, so I think to be fair, we've gone through a lot, and I'm now going to give you the albeit you can't think you could hear that. We would hear it more in the headphones, but we don't like the headphones. So thank you so much. That was awesome. Actually, it was really interesting to listen to the story and the stuff I didn't even know, which was amazing. You've got a lot on your plate. So everyone I speak to be fair, that comes in, they've got a lot on that. It always is that never-ending list. Continuously grows, but I love that you're doing the retail stuff. That's awesome. Yeah, it's just a no-brainer. It'd
be great.
Yeah, 100%. I think, and because you've already got that database of the pizza and the post, it's a no-brainer to expand on that whole database of what you've got there and expand. And also, I do like the merch. Because literally, cool. I get my free T-shirt when I go get my pizza. So
I'll make sure you're kitted out. Don't you worry.
No, I love that. I know because it's a funky brand, so it's very in, right? That whole style. So, but thank you. I really appreciate it. We're going to go to the final questions. And the final question.
I haven't thought about these.
That's right. You can do it off the cuff. It's all good. Best restaurant, and it could be anything.
Ooh, I think best restaurant for me at the moment is probably 6 by Nico. Mm-hmm. Not actually because of the food's pretty good. I'm shitting on their food for no reason. I love the storytelling at the table, the way that they've really thought about the 360 customer experience. And every time I've been, I've had a great time. So I'd say 6 by Nico.
Amazing. Best burger?
Truffle burger. Shout out to the team there. Yeah. I worked with them at Seven Dials, so I'm a bit biased. Yeah. But
great product.
They're phenomenal and they're so well thought out. And I think that every time I've been, it's been flawless.
Yeah. Okay. Great burgers. Best hotel? Could be anywhere.
Best hotel. Back in the day, I used to love Ace Hotel. That was a vibe. I loved going to Ace Hotel, but it doesn't exist anymore. So can I say an old one?
Yeah, of course you can.
Ace Hotel.
Yeah. The bar at Ace Hotel was awesome. There wasn't the bar was mental at Ace Hotel.
Yeah, it was amazing. And then their loyalty scheme and the way that they made it an open floor, workspace. I just thought that everything they did was really well thought out.
Beautiful. So 2 questions for the next guest.
I wrote them down.
Good homework.
What's going to be the biggest social trend for 2025?
I like that.
And what's your biggest pet peeve of that hospitality brands repeatedly do?
Okay. I like that. It's going to be interesting, actually.
Yeah, I know. Because then I'll stop doing it.
There's no pet peeves from what you guys do. So I'm going to give you another one of these. So, woo! Say goodbye to everyone. So there's thank you so much for coming.